ES Audio.
Hello, I'm Mark Blunden and this is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, don't look down, it's Assassin's Creed in VR. But first, scientists have created synthetic early human embryos using reprogrammed stem cells in a move that opens new research potential while raising serious ethical concerns. Work by the University of Cambridge and California Institute of Technology describes fostering the cells to a stage just beyond the equivalent of 14 days of human development. While the structures do not require eggs or sperm, they also don't have a beating heart or beginnings of a brain, but contain cells that would typically develop to form the placenta and embryo. It remains unknown whether the synthetic models could develop into viable embryos, and The Guardian reports the findings were presented at the International Society for Stem Cell Research's annual meeting in Boston. Next, the junior doctors' strike here in England continues on Thursday as new figures showed that more than 500,000 appointments and procedures have been postponed due to industrial action since December. For our international listeners, here's what it's all over.
We've got junior doctors now qualifying and being paid just £14 an hour, and yet they have up to £100,000 worth of debt.
That's Phil Banfield, who chairs the British Medical Association.
And we're asking the government to recognise that drop in value and therefore to restore the value of their pay. And it doesn't seem unreasonable at all to ask for £19 an hour instead of £14 an hour for the expertise.
The dispute remains deadlocked, with no talks planned amid a standoff between the BMA and government, while the waiting lists grow and grow.
We are seeing waiting lists hit record numbers, and those waiting lists were going up before the pandemic. So the waiting lists are not to do with strike action or to do with the pandemic. They are to do with chronic underfunding and a conscious understaffing of the NHS.
BMA members are staging pickets outside hospitals across the country for the second day of the 3-day walkout. Next, Assassin's Creed fans will soon be able to bound across the rooftops while immersed in virtual reality. Developer Ubisoft has revealed the first trailer for Assassin's Creed Nexus VR. The company reckons the future release of Apple's Vision Pro headsets will be the catalyst for VR's mainstream adoption. And Ubisoft is keen to build games for the $3,500 device. But the latest Assassin's Creed VR title is probably not one for you if you've got a fear of heights. In other gaming news, a US court has blocked Microsoft from completing its $56 million deal to acquire Call of Duty publisher Activision. For now, it comes after US regulator the Federal Trade Commission, which opposes the deal on competition grounds, took the matter to court on Tuesday night. But Microsoft President Brad Smith says the injunction would merely accelerate the legal process and is preparing to present their case at a commission hearing later in June. Sony has announced the games coming to the PlayStation Plus catalogue in June, plus PS5 owners will soon be able to stream games. This will mean they can try titles out without going through the long process of downloading up to 100 gigabytes or more of data. Sony says this feature is currently in testing and will eventually be part of the top-end PlayStation Plus premium subscription. In the meantime, get ready for the likes of Far Cry 6, Rogue Legacy 2 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science. Plus, new link between inflammatory bowel disease and stroke, and why our ancestors' struts was just like ours. Why not hit follow in the meantime and give us a rating? Welcome back. It looks like the uprising by Reddit's moderators over the platform's access to its tools by third-party apps is set to drag on. Hundreds of mods say the blackout, with pages being set to private, will now continue indefinitely. It was originally only planned as a 2-day protest, but Reddit bosses are standing firm, saying they still plan to introduce the charges as planned. Next. A a study has revealed that people with inflammatory bowel disease are more likely to have a stroke than someone without the condition. Researchers at Sweden's Karolinska Institutet say the findings suggest screening and management of stroke risk factors could be more urgent in people who have the disease. A study of around 85,000 people found those with the condition were 13% more likely to have a stroke. That's 25 years after their diagnosis. People without IBD. According to the research published in the Neurology Journal, the elevated risk for people with IBD remained even 25 years after they were first diagnosed. And finally, research suggests that Lucy, our famous early human ancestor, had knee joints allowing her to walk fully upright, as well as strong leg and pelvic muscles suited to living in trees. University of Cambridge scientists digitally reconstructed the lower limb muscles of the extinct ape-like relative who lived in Africa more than 3 million years ago. The results, published in the journal Royal Society Open Science, suggested Lucy could straighten her joints, giving the ability to stand upright and walk on two legs with an erect posture similar to modern-day humans. The skeleton, which is about 40% complete with 47 out of 207 bones, was discovered in 1974 in northern Ethiopia. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Leader podcast for the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Evening Standard here in London, and we'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. See you then.